Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty cool news coming up here with a brand new update, more so for the Xbox Series X, and as well, this actually might be something we'll actually have a chance to rock out and do for the PlayStation 5 in the future. But it's actually kind of cool to have this very first initial next step towards like the overall kind of gaming baseline upgrades going on with this one. So I'm actually kind of hyped up and kind of pogging up for this one. So if anything, kind of give me your thoughts and comments down below. It does kind of seem like nowadays the Xbox Series X and S have usually been pushing a lot more of these updates a little bit earlier, and then typically right after we have the PlayStation 5 and other various platforms, typically going on the next step where they basically a few months later, sometimes I guess in a few cases years later, we see a little bit more stock with them. So we have some kind of cool stuff in regards to the FSR 2.0 and some cool stuff with Xbox, so I want to go and share with all of you lovely folks out there. As well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for our brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. We have the Amazon links down below for the signups. We have the Twitter and Twitch streams as well down below. We got the Weebles, got the Coinbases, and got all that good stuff too as well down below. And let's go diving over here. So we have a pretty cool article over here from Tom's Hardware talking about this nice little brand new update. So I want to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive, reference it and use it as all that good stuff. And let's go and talk about it. But for this, we actually now have the updates. It's kind of been making its rounds over here, so I figured, might as well do a nice little Xbox update. I know a lot of you guys got some Xbox stuff, or like I said, even if you guys are PS5 owners, you could always use this for future updates for them. But this is for the FSR 2.0, which is now officially coming to the Xbox Series XS, and funny enough, Xbox One, and as of right now, it's already all up here in testing. So consoles are now finally getting a taste of FSR 2.0. So in a brand new tweet over here from a GPU Open Team and Xbox's Jason Ronald, AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution 2 is dropping its PC exclusivity and finally making its way to Xbox console soon. Xbox development teams have already received the upscaler and are actively testing it right now for future deployment in games. Xbox consoles receiving FSR 2.0 support include the Xbox Series X and S, but as well the previous gen Xbox One console. So this is pretty cool. So as you guys can already kind of read from the article itself, this was actually more of a PC exclusive thing, more so in regards to AMD. So when it comes to AMD itself, as you guys know, they are the makers of both the PlayStation 5 as well as also the Xbox Series X's. They work on the GPUs. They have their own GPU lines for PCs. And when it comes to this stuff, it's kind of the same thing with the RTX, where you basically have specific specifications for GPUs for them to be optimized, utilize better, have better FPS, and all that type of good stuff. So when it comes to this thing as well, anything that comes to the Xbox will be coming to the PlayStation 5 as time goes on. We've seen this on time and time again in pretty much every big update, but we always have to give a little bit of a nice thumbs up to Xbox for typically being the first cases to implement them, and then as well, we kind of see later on the line for PS5. So besides the Steam Deck, FSR 2.0 integration with Xbox marks the first time AMD's new temporal upscaling will be used outside of the PC ecosystem. Time will tell how prominent FSR will become in Xbox games, but there is a huge potential for version 2.0 of the tech to be a big hit on Microsoft's gaming console. Resolution upscalers are incredibly common to see on consoles, such as the Xbox, due to the incredibly long lifespan some of the consoles have. Upscaling is almost a necessity for ensuring a console's GPU does not become obsolete within a few years. Almost all Xbox and PlayStation games have some form of upscaling, whether that will be a competing temporal solution that isn't FSR or checkboarding in order to hit a target frame rate of 30, 60, or 120 frames on current gen systems with higher resolutions. So this is kind of in case you guys are curious on what the tech is. We've seen a lot of this just in general, where it's like they're trying their best either to have like an HDR, which is, or a VRR, which is more so trying to hit a nice stable frame rate, and that would make a lot of sense. Like some of the comments of the article, it kind of goes to show that, yeah, that can be a big issue, because if you have your PlayStation 5 GPU, right now it's already getting close to 2 years old. Now, it's a very efficient console. Same with Xbox, 2 years old. These are all very efficient and obviously met and are having programs and apps and games literally built on these consoles, like straight up one-to-one. But the one big issue with it is that 5 years from now, 7 years from now, it may be way too obsolete. So we have all these like various types of technologies we've mentioned, like even the FSR 2.0. You put this all together, and this basically makes the longevity for these consoles better. And now, as I mentioned, we also are including this for the PlayStation 5, although the Xbox is the one that's kind of getting this technical announcement, mainly because if AMD is making them both, and the technology is available to be utilized on, say, Xbox GPUs, Xbox CPUs, Xbox internals, and even for prior gen, you can bet your sweet patootie that they are gonna be also including the next gen, other gen, PlayStation 5. So it's kind of cool either way. This does actually kind of seem like this will be the next huge update, especially in regards to AMD and everything else. Seems kind of cool. So as we've mentioned, resolution upscalers are incredibly common over here due to the long lifespans too as well. They can't go and say on how much better FSR 2.0 will look on consoles, but presumably its temporal algorithm to be at least on par with competing for temporal solutions already on the latest Xbox games, and almost certainly better than checkerboarding with the simplest upscaling algorithm as we mentioned. But the biggest hurdle will be in developer integration for the FSR 2.0, which could be quite problematic for many titles. FSR 2.0, more advanced temporal solution, requires additional data that might not already be included in the specific game engines, including depth buffers, motion vectors, and color buffers. This additional data can take longer to implement than FSR 2.0 itself, which will then extend the development time for FSR 2.0 implementation. So the only exception to this will be games that already include a temporal upscaling solution, meaning these additional data points will already be available in the game engine. All the developers need to do is add the FSR 2.0 source code to the engine. Now, that's kind of nice because I do feel like this implementation does seem pretty chill, and as this technology becomes like the more next step, once again, I can probably use like the RTX example, or where basically for the NVIDIA's like ray tracing, it was kind of not necessarily utilized besides in a few select games from partnerships and initial hype. But as time went on, they did go and include a lot more games. Like even right now, RTX, even for PC games, console games, etc., is somewhat becoming more of the mainstream implementation for these GPUs. So the fact that we're now kind of seeing like this is kind of like the very first next step, where we're now seeing this technology being like involved. We're seeing this technology coming out, and it's already been somewhat successful on PC. So now we're moving it down to consoles. And console upgrades are usually pretty nice because once again, these will probably be implemented both on the Xbox and PlayStation 5, Xbox most likely first when it comes to that one too as well. So perhaps the most surprising announcement from the tweets is the FSR 2.0 integration with the Xbox One. And that's why once again I'm kind of pretty much guaranteeing you guys this will be coming to the PlayStation 5 disc and digital almost 1 zillion%. When it comes to the PS4, we'd have to maybe see, especially as it's a little bit on the older side. Mainly because I do believe the Xbox architecture, especially if you base it on like the whatever it's called, like the previous gen playability of games, like for that, like the cross-generation platforming, it does kind of make things kind of switching back and forth a little bit easier, while the PlayStation 5's is not as efficient, mainly because they use a different internal architecture. So basically that, I still find that very surprising that the Xbox One, considering how old it is, will have a chance for this. And it's all very much older hardware compared to the Series X and S. On the PC side of things, FSR 2.0 already has a quite rigorous minimum GPU requirement at 4K with the RX 5700 or the RTX 2070. And a GTX 1080 and RTX 650 for 1440p made us wonder if the Xbox One's GPU can even handle that, which I will be honest, not an Xbox hater at all. It does seem a little bit on the sketchier side, just because, man, that does seem like it's just an old console. It's like trying to upgrade the Switch with proper terminal, like proper tech. It does make things a little harder. But at least in the bright side, these brand new updates are looking cool. So it'll be interesting to see how performance shapes up with FSR 2.0, but if Microsoft has greenlit support for the Xbox One, it must believe this older console can handle FSR's 2.0 heavy computing requirements without a problem. We fully expect the Series X and S to benefit greatly from FSR 2.0 though, with GPUs powered by the same RDNA2 architecture as the RX 6000 series desktop GPUs from AMD, and as well, because we're just kind of throwing in the clickbait with it, and also with PlayStation 5's pulling a few more months once they kind of get their internal stuff out there. Microsoft seems always a little bit more open out there to talk about this stuff. PlayStation more so likes to announce it when it's either in motion or getting close to being done. But at least this kind of gives us a big update on what the next big upgrades for these next-gen consoles are going to be, and I love seeing more of this just in the general sense, and as well, more consistent frames, more consistent, like, I guess, analytical frame interference. That's even a word is always nice to see. So give me your thoughts and comments down below, and as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. We have the Amazon links down below for the PS5 itself, for the signups, the Twitter and Twitch streams, and the Weebles and Coinbases and all that good stuff down below as well. Love you guys.